Thank you. You're probably wondering why a cartoonist is up here on stage. You're probably thinking to yourself, one of us is in the wrong room, maybe. But I'd like to explain a couple of reasons why I'm here. The first reason is that I'm doing a project with United Nations Environment Program, the Regional Office of North America, producing videos. And these are outreach videos that are tailored towards the general public. But I'd also like to talk about media in general. I don't have a lot of time. I only have about 10 minutes. But I'd like to share with you some of my experiences in public outreach and see if maybe some of those apply to you. I started as a cartoonist, gosh, when I was young enough to hold a crayon. And I always loved the ocean. So I always tried to incorporate marine characters in my cartoons. As a matter of fact, I've made the ultimate commitment to the ocean. I've actually, as of 2 months ago, I moved my family to the ocean. We now live on a sailboat. We'll be living on a sailboat for the next year. The boat's currently in Gibraltar. We just finished the Atlantic leg, and we're going to be sailing through the Mediterranean. So I encourage you to consider the other 70% of the planet. There's a lot of space out there, a lot of real estate, and every day is different. So as a cartoonist, I have a broader connection with the crowd here because as a media artist, my industry is going through the same kind of revolutions that the data industry is going through. Basically, if you think of it, there's the data revolution over here, and it's a branch on a tree that's also more fundamentally an information revolution. And over here, I am with media, publishing, and entertainment. But the forces that are affecting data over here, the ease of acquisition, the cheapness of the devices that you can acquire data, the computing power that allows you to crunch that data and visualize it, the collaborative platforms in the internet, all that stuff is happening over here as well in my world, the entertainment world. And they're very similar. And it occurred to me that if you can understand the world of data, what we've been talking about for the last 2 days and what we're going to talk about today, then you'll understand my world, and maybe you can apply a few lessons from my world to your world. So what I try to do with my comics is try to kind of strike a line between entertainment and a little bit of a message. Message is maybe a strong word, but I try to kind of sneak in a little lesson here and now and then. So here's an example of a comic where I was telling people about sustainable seafood and how, actually there is a choice on a menu, and as a consumer, you should be more aware of that. So that's a typical example of how I try to weave a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of a message into what I do. The revolution that's happening in my industry is something that's very relevant to you. So let me tell you about my revolution. I have in my pocket now a production studio. 10 years ago, this used to cost $100,000. Cameras, tripods, crews. Now I can take broadcast quality video with this. But more importantly, ten years ago, you needed a big media company to distribute your content. And now, I just shot that video, and I can share it with my 1,200 Facebook friends and their extended outreach with the press of a button. And more fundamentally and more subtly is that because there's not so much capital and moneyed interest and commercial interest creating all that content can take any form, any length. So you can create a 2-minute piece on climate change, for example. So these industry revolutions that are affecting your data world, ease of acquisition, computational strength, collaborative platforms, is exactly what's happening over here. And if you can understand it over there, you can get it over here. And that's important because in my country 50 years ago, we lived in a time when community leaders needed to articulate directly to the public about racial inequality because the media didn't want to run that. We've lived in eras when economists needed to articulate directly about inequalities of income because it doesn't make a good story. And what I wanted to say to you today is that we live in an era where scientific issues, and especially natural science, climate change, ocean acidification, things like that, are extremely difficult to understand for the general public, but extremely important for them to understand. And the media is not going to cover it. And what I'm trying to demonstrate to you is that you are the media, and you should consider doing more of this. I am just one videographer, so I'm appealing to you to become a room full of content creators. You don't have to tell an elaborate story, just get it out there.